What is it like being a Jamaican in Montreal, Quebec, Canada? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com, and today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Mark Henry, a Jamaican living in Montreal. Mark, how you do?
Bonjour, bonjour, comment ça va? Je vais commencer avec français. Yeah, man. It's Montreal, we do the bilingual stuff.
I, I don't even get to it, but the man have the French thing down.
Yes, man, ready for them, man. And let me just first say, Xavier, thank you very much, as I said to you, for giving me the opportunity to be on the show to represent this diaspora that I've been a part of for over 37 years. And it's really exciting, especially being the representing our community here as the president. It's a great opportunity. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Well, I'm going to get into the president part of it a little bit.
Sure.
But first, which part of Jamaica you're from?
Well, the best part of Jamaica, you know that. Straight out of the vineyard town. I was born and raised at 3 Rochdale Avenue, Kingston Tree, Jamaica. And that was where I was born. I was raised. Those days, Vineyard Town was a residential area, was fantastic area. And, over the years, it's deteriorated a lot. But, I'll always represent Vineyard Town, just below off Deanery Road, below Mountain. I'm not sure if you know that area, not too far from the post office K supermarket. That's where I was born and raised.
The look on your face is like you have some memories where you have fling stone and lick down some mango and them
Remember them days, it was pure rich people living in that area. So but them have some big dog, But go ahead.
You run from dog.
From big old dog, man, because those area we didn't have much money, but I don't know how we ended up in that area, but we were there, just 7 of us in that area, and we used to walk those areas, all these beautiful mango trees, especially when we're hungry, but some big dog. So we learn how to lick down mango, scale fence, grab the mango, and jump out.
So which school are you representing?
All right, yeah, man. So that's exciting. So I went to the Rollington Town Primary School.
Okay.
And then went to the best high school in Jamaica, Kingston, Camperdown High School back in the 80s. That's where I was. I left in Fort Form, but the red blue, man, nothing like it, man. Actually, I'm still part of the alumni. We meet up in Florida every May for the Camperdown alumni, and it's just been great, man. So straight up sea down to the world. And Raymond Stewart.
Right.
Raymond Stewart.
Is there a teacher that you remember from Camperdown that really inspired you?
Well, I'll tell you what. There was my Spanish teacher talking about French, and I was actually in love with her. Beautiful woman. She was my Spanish teacher. I used to always ask her, "Can I carry your bag?" She said, "Move from the little boy, so Bruce." We love off the Spanish teacher.
Your crush.
She was
your first crush.
I swear to God, with my first crush, she was a beautiful woman. But I was fascinated the way she taught the language, and I got excited about learning language. And I think it was actually one of the better ones that learned me. If I was infatuated with her or whatever it was, but I was very good in that class, let me tell you. And so we transitioned from Spanish to living in a French place. It's quite ironic, but Miss Plummer was an amazing teacher. She was very patient, and she let me carry her bags.
So tell us about that transition, that journey. How did you, come to live in Montreal?
Yeah, so my mother, in 72 or 73, she actually migrated then as a factory worker. She was a seamstress, and so they were looking for workers in the manufacturing plant as a seamstress. So she was a group of 10 of them that came to Canada at that time. She came back in 73 and went back in 74, and decided, like most immigrants at that time, not to return. Fortunately, that prior to leaving, my father, which was her husband, then there was a separation. There's actually 7 of us. There was a separation, and he later passed away. So my mother had to take care of 7. It was 7 of us growing up at Rochdale Avenue in Vineyard Town. No parents, actually, no supervision. The oldest was 14 or 15, and my youngest brother of the 7, I was the second to last, was maybe 4. Nobody knew about that, and we just, for 10, 50, 12 years. So my mother came to Canada, and then about 12 years later, she got her residency in Montreal, and that's how 3 of us were at the age of 18 and below. So at that time, I left Camperdown in Fort Form. I wanted to do my O levels or A levels, whatever they call it, but
You wanted to wear the white shirt.
Boy, I wear the white and turn prefect, you know.
Listen, I know the feeling, my
Yep.
brother. I know the feeling.
Yeah, it
I
was
wanted to go too, you know.
pretty bad. And funny as how I meet up now with our alumni members from that class of '86. You know, they went on to graduate in sixth form. I left in fourth form, but you know, they're able to share those memories. And so in 1986, I migrated to Montreal.
Okay, okay. So what was it like for you in terms of, was it a huge culture shock from Jamaica, the warm,
Yeah.
and then boom?
Well, Xavier, let me tell you something. We were so poor. Me them business about cool culture, white nothing. My brother and I, being the youngest, it was tough times. You
Right,
know, mom working as a, came up. Most of those immigrants came up. They were educated and stuff. They had to work domestic work, and $250 come home a month time. It was rough time. So we used to look up in the sky and say, one of them gonna be in Canada, one of them gonna be there. It was hard time. So we were just happy to kind of get out and get an opportunity, and it was pretty exciting getting on a plane for the first time, coming into a strange country, seeing white people. I'd never even seen white people before ever in my life. Jamaica, we call them brown people and things like that, browning.
right,
I
right.
remember seeing any white people. Actually, not the owner of the home we live in was Scottish, but to see this culture, it was actually exciting, and especially seeing the first snowfall. I mean, I was jumping in the air, snow. So, I didn't have any time about. It was not a negative impact on me. It was pretty exciting because I finally had an opportunity. I was disappointed because during those days, migration and traveling back and forth, it wasn't common. And people come back to Jamaica and talk about we were foreign. They said there's some foreign money up on the street and TV, and you thought it was a place full of gold. But when reality hit, you come and see your mother cleaning houses, and the reality really hit. But no matter she was cleaning houses, a domestic worker, worked with a lady for 50 years. She did it honorable, took care of 7 children. So we
Wow.
learned a lot from that. And I came up, got my first job. So it wasn't a culture shock more than an opportunity because we'd hear about foreign, well, foreign,
Right,
and
right.
a foreign. So it was good. It was
Nice.
exciting. It was pretty
So,
exciting.
did you miss your Jamaican food, and what was the Canadian food like back, when you first experienced that?
Well, it was that part of it I missed. It wasn't the food that I missed. It was more the people. It was more the culture. I was really actually when I came up after 1 year, I started going back to Jamaica. So over 37 years, 1986, I've been to Jamaica maybe 33 times, and I miss the people. I miss the culture. I miss the accent, and I miss the dialect. I miss the food. Was nothing the same here. Was that part of it was tough to adjust. You see people eating all this, this fast food and stuff like that. You started eating all that, but then realize how much you miss juicy beef patty and a tasty patty. You used to teeth go to school and jump on the bus, go half a tree, go down a tasty patty, eat two tasty patty. You know what I'm saying? The jerk chicken. There's nothing like it. And it was that part of it I missed. So I would go home. So I had the best of both worlds where I was
Right.
living in a country where I could at least take care of myself and have a better opportunity in life. But then I was also able to earn some money for go back a yard. So it was really, really the best of work. But I really missed it. And the biggest thing I missed was my school friends and my comrades.
Right.
Growing up from primary school and most of us going to high school together, the things that we did, not having a chance to finish that, that was disappointing. But then, and then all of them were graduated from Campadon. I must about 2 of them leave at Jamaica. Everybody gone. It's about
So,
me. Everybody miss. Everybody gone. I said, Mark, you come for your business, yeah? We're gone. Yeah.
so you are the president. Let me make sure I have it right.
Yes.
The Jamaica
Association of Montreal.
Association of Montreal.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
So, tell us about that association,
Yep.
and as a second part to that, how have you seen, because you've been there quite a while,
Yep.
how you have seen the Jamaican community to grow? So, part one, tell us about the association.
Right.
Part two, how you have seen the Jamaican community grow in Montreal.
Well, I will say in the first part. So the Jamaica Association of Montreal, they started in 1962 when Jamaica got its independence, or 1962, we're 61 years old now. And so it started as an opportunity to provide a space for all the migrants, those who immigrated from Jamaica, to live here. Most of the people who migrated during that time really just looking for a better life and better opportunity. So the association provided that space where you could come and they would speak the dialect and play the dominoes and have the Jamaican food. We've evolved since the 60s and the 70s, where it was just a space for the social gathering and become
Mhm.
more community oriented. So now we serve, we provide, we still maintain the social part for Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica and descendants of Jamaica. But also, though, we've come and become more organization. So where we have a food bank. So our food bank has been existing about 30 years. We serve about 15, 1600 people. Actually, more than that. We do about 70 people per week, 67 people a week. So you can
Wow.
average that about 2,100 people. And you'd be surprised the people you believe you live in Canada, a first world country, the amount of people that are hungry below the poverty line. It's crazy.
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
line up on Thursdays for a meal. A lot of them are refugees. A lot of them are, having tough times in life, and so we don't just feed the Jamaicans. Not as a matter of fact, the Jamaican them now come, them rank and feisty. If you see a Jamaican at the line, them now come at the line. No. Them come late at night or them ask somebody to give them a black. So we see mostly Africans, Haitians, all the other culture except them face the Jamaican. But anyhow, I digress. So that's kind of what we have a program for young single mothers who find themselves, without fathers in their life. So we help support them and their children. We have educational programs. So after school, adult health, an adult educational program, which was key for the Jamaicans in the 70s coming up, because a lot of them that left were skilled workers and they were not educated. So, and most of them did not read, to be honest with you. That's why they started the adult health program. And a lot of them learned in the 70s and 80s, learned to read through the program. It's different now because education a little bit more accessible.
Right. Right.
Different, the dynamics is different. But the main thing of the association was the adult education program. Just learn how to sign your name and write your name. Many of them didn't know how to do
It's, it sounds like the history of this organization needs a show by itself, because I'm sure there's some great stories
that. Oh,
that have come out of all the people that you have assisted. It sounds like when I land in Montreal,
yeah.
the first thing I must do is contact your association when I get there, because it sounds like there's a wealth of resources, a wealth of information that you all provide.
And in fact, that's exactly what happens because on a weekly basis, we get immigrants or those who are visiting who want to stay or those who just got their PR card. And there's so much to the transformation and integration into the Canadian society that a lot of them feel lost. So the association is definitely a place that most people actually do call. Most of those who are not here on a permanent basis because there are resources for them, but a lot of them do when they're looking for that cultural integration. But there's a lot of what we call the immigrants who are not don't have their residency and or visiting, and we see them on a weekly, daily basis. We're writing
Awesome.
letters. We do the passport renewals. We're working with the Jamaican government for documents, passport. We really are the hub. And in fact, we just we just created a partnership with the Jamaican National Bank, so that through the National Bank, people can get their services for Jamaican their land and housing and banking information.
Awesome,
So,
awesome, awesome stuff. So, what's the website for the organization, and
so
the any social media handles?
yeah, so we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we have our website was a Jam Association, Jam Montreal Association. So if you were Jamaica, Montreal Association.com, you'll be taken to our website. And we also on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I'll send you all those handles. Maybe you can put them up. So making sure that when people come to the Montreal space. Now, I just want to be clear. When we say Montreal, we're a city within the province of Quebec.
Okay,
So
yes.
Quebec is the only French state in North America. New Orleans, there's a mix of French and thing, but the official language of the state of Quebec in Canada is French. And Montreal is a small city within that province. Within Montreal, there's a mix of language. So there's many companies, school who have bilingual status, but the state of Quebec is French.
Awesome, awesome. And this is why you can speak that beautiful
Yo,
language that the
oh,
ladies, if a lady hear it, you could tell a lady you greet
yeah,
like that. you're taller than a tree, or you could tell sounds
I
it
don't
sounds
understand. Don't understand one thing.
but it sounds excellent.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's great. It was great actually learning the language. In fact, when I did my university, my bachelor's degrees here in Montreal. The thing about it, when I came back from Camperdown, I came to high school here. Yeah, I know everybody tells the same story. They put you back 1 year. Why them put you back when for them educational system is nothing like ours, but that's them thing like that. Put me back a year. I did all my studies in English, so college, university. When I finished my bachelor's, I really didn't speak French because my mom was here before 1976, so she has an English status, which allowed me to go to English school. If she did not have status, I would have been forced to go to French school.
Oh wow.
And we were like a bright boy at Jamaica, so because I do two little things. So me never want my studies get, trumped by the
Right.
language because I know there'll be a challenge and I see a lot of people. So I did my studies, but the problem is, when I got to university and I couldn't get a job, like a job within my field because I didn't speak the
Oh
language. I
wow.
actually started off doing odd jobs, parking cars, groceries like everybody else with a bachelor's degree. And basically just decided I was going to embrace the culture, embrace the language, and just start speaking. I started speaking the language. It was tough at first, but took me a couple of years, and I finally got a corporate job. And then, the language of French
Wow.
become familiar, and then finally became bilingual.
Wow. Amazing,
Thanks to Miss
amazing to hear.
Plummer, Miss Plummer, wherever you're there. I hope you listen to this. It was my love for Spanish and carrying your bags that allowed me to speak French today.
So the well, I don't want to come off the association just yet. What's the biggest event that you all as an association have every year?
I think it's the same with all the associations around the world. Jamaica Day,
Okay.
celebrating independence and emancipation. That is
Okay.
massive, and we get anywhere between throughout the day 3 to 5,000 people coming through that park. It is the one signature event that everybody looks forward to. It's open in the park. There's a huge stage. We invite singers, there's performers, there's foods, there's tents, and it's exciting because that's when all the dignitaries come out. We have the high commissions out, members of state. It's a massive event and it's a massive production. We also have our Heroes Banquet. So we kind of do the events to celebrate our culture. You have to understand. I'm
Awesome.
not sure if you live in Florida, but for me, it's for Jamaicans in the diaspora. Being away from home, it's a big deal. People think you're firing and you have everything you want, but you miss the culture. And so whenever we have an opportunity to celebrate the culture, we absolutely embrace and involve. So all our events, the main events, are surrounding the celebrating the culture. So the Heroes Banquet is our second one in October, where we celebrate all the heroes, and we usually use as an opportunity in the spirit of heroism, whatever that word is, to celebrate local heroes, people who make
Oh,
sacrifices and for the community and for a lot of
I
people
like that.
who give who help kids back to school and food for the. So we celebrate that through the heroes celebration in Jamaica, which coincide around the same time.
Awesome, awesome stuff. So, would you say for Montreal, what is that? Would the Jamaica Day celebrations be the biggest event from a Jamaican perspective in Montreal?
Without doubt, because so all the different islands have their celebration, but the Jamaica Day, it's where we get the average person who's never heard about. And it's a free event. One time you said free, everybody got show up. So I'm saying, Heroes Bank, you have to pay $120 for coming, we have to pay the hotel and everything. You understand what I'm saying? But the park, it's a chance for people, whether you have money or not, whether you're a Jamaican or not, whether you're black or not, everybody's getting an opportunity to be outside in the summer. Because don't forget, we have 4 seasons and the winters are pretty harsh. Come November, December, it starts getting very cold, right back into March, April. So open outside event, there's nothing to compare about that. And we actually rival the Montreal events. The major events in the city are the jazz festivals, which is a massive event. We have the blues festivals. We have the Just for Laugh festival. But the Jamaica Association or the cultural events, they rival those events. They're massive,
Wow,
absolutely.
wow,
And I hope one
wow.
day, I
Yeah,
know you
man. No, no. I,
StreamYard. One day, hopefully, we invite
yeah,
you to be
man.
our guest, and we take care of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It sounds like
Very well.
I need to be there. I need to be there and come visit. Let
Exciting times.
So in terms of the community, Now, how have you seen the Jamaican community grow there in Montreal? Is it a huge community? It sounds like it if you have such an event. But how have you seen it evolve during your years there?
Well, that is an interesting question because unfortunately, so we're about between we have averaged anywhere from 7 to I don't know 10,000 Jamaicans, and we're talking Jamaicans. We're talking first generation, second generation, and even third. Unfortunately, we've seen an erosion of that, and why that is because of the French has become more and more of a dominant. Where there was a time that the English and the French would coexist, the laws are being more to strengthen the French language and culture, and it's limiting most English blacks or Caribbean to be able to live, to be able to have a career, to be able to be who they wanted because of the limitation with French. You know what I mean? When you go to the stores and when you go to the government, it's all French, and you're being forced in that situation where they're now forcing the children to go to French. So most black people in Jamaica, them face them say, yeah, man, can't matter that. Jump on the 401 down to Toronto. So we've seen a segregation of the Jamaican culture. So what I've done as the leadership is to create more of a what we call a coalition with all the other Caribbean islands. So we have all the Caribbean islands from Barbados and Kitts, St. Vincent on, and we formed an alliance. And that alliance is to strengthen the Black community, strengthen the Caribbean community, and create support for each other. So normally, if we're having an event, especially a paid event inside, if we're facing that degradation of Jamaicans, we'll still get that support for the coalition. So unfortunately, Toronto's Jamaican community is getting bigger, or is it getting smaller because they're implementing laws or strengthening or toughening laws because their concern, which we totally disagree with, and we fight back against it through the courts and the law for a right to be able to exist in English within a French space. But of course, the majority win. Montreal or Quebec is a population of 8 or 9 million. Montreal about 3 million. The Black community pales in comparison to the major side. So the majority is winning over. But myself, I've been here so long,
Right,
raised my family.
right,
I'm not interested at this point to move.
right. Well,
The
that
furthest
is,
I will do is probably go closer to the border. But the fact that I speak French kind of helps that situation.
and your family, how are they speak French too?
Yes, they are able to um,
Get
so they're
by
able to
or
get by.
fluent?
They're able to get by. My kids are
Okay,
born here. Yeah, they're able to get by. You know, my wife is from Barbados, so
okay,
um, she knows French.
right,
You know, a little bit
okay, all right.
strengthening a little bit. It's all about you. Listen,
Flying fish and cuckoo.
can I say the language to speak the language requires confidence.
Right,
And sometimes you have to embrace yourself. The problem with a lot of the Caribbean people here, they don't embrace it that much. They
right.
they
Well,
speak it out of necessity, but I embrace it because I had to do it for my job. I'm in sales,
right.
and I had to meet customers in French. I remember traveling to pockets of Quebec where the French was tough, but I just kept on practicing, speaking,
And
practicing.
then you got awesome,
30 years later,
awesome.
here I am. Yeah.
I mean, this is some great information. And
Yeah.
folks, even though, as Mark said, some people are leaving, it may even be an opportunity,
Yeah.
for folks to say, listen, there's a community there that's strong because it's actually have made you all stronger with the rest of the Caribbean community there with,
Absolutely.
with all of this happening. I love to hear that. Cost of
100%.
living. What's the cost of living like?
Well, I would say, well, if what it depends on what you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to the U.S., our cost of living is pretty low because um, it's a government system where there is social support. So there is for people who are unemployed, for example, the unemployment supplement that it's pretty long. So they give you almost 9 to 10 months where the government, if you're not employed and you were working before you've been laid off, they'll pay you 70 or 80% of your salary until you find another job. For those people who don't work, there's money there for them. They call them social benefit. So the cost of living is pretty good because the government, but the issue is the taxes. We are by far across North America the highest taxed
Mm.
region in North America, and they justify it by saying that medical care
Right,
is health care is
right,
free,
right.
education is free, so we get a lot of free stuff, but not free. You understand what I'm saying? In America,
Yeah.
you get
No.
my money and there's some free stuff, but that's why going on.
All right, we're not getting in no trouble with that. But
Yeah.
so let me ask you this in terms
Just by
of
the way, it's 40% tax.
yes,
Um,
I follow NBA basketball, and
yeah,
I know the basketball players don't want to come to Canada
Canada, not at all. Tax
because
is too high.
they're like, hey, this
Yeah,
is a
not when you can go to Texas and get no pay, no state tax.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you're in an area that as you mentioned, French is the dominant language and so forth. When people first encounter you as a Jamaican, and then encounter you speaking French with probably an accent,
Yeah, definitely with an
what
accent.
what is the typical response when you say I am Jamaican? What do they?
Well, it's interesting because I didn't do my, so it depends on who you're talking to. Because I didn't do classes in French because I had that exemption. I learned French, sort of speaking, so to speak, for lack of a better word, on the streets or in the corporate sort of way, speaking. And so the French that we speak in Quebec is different from the French is French. It's a broken French, not the same like France. I visited France. It's a different type of French. When people here, black, see me here, they think I speak like Haitian. So it's a Quebecois kind of language. When I tell them that I'm Jamaican, they're surprised because they're more used to the Haitians, the Africans speaking French. But when I tell them I'm Jamaican, like they're pretty surprised, and they'll go, "Yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man." But I speak more of a Quebecois French, and so the blacks from the French diasporas, the Congo, the Haiti, they don't speak Quebecois French, but I learned it from Quebecois because my clients' French are Quebecois. So my French is a little bit different. It's speaking French. I do write it also, but so people are pretty exciting, and then people within my community, within the Jamaican community, they're very impressed. That taking the time to do that. A lot of Jamaicans here been here 40, 50 years and they don't even know to say bonjour.
One word.
Not
I,
even one word. Not even a word. Not even half a word. And to me, I say if you go to someone else's country and you have an opportunity, even though the real people in own this country are the Indian them and are the
right,
white people, but
right.
let's talk about context. That it's important that you assimilate and try to at least embrace the culture somewhat, and that's what you have to do. And some people just decide not wanting to do, but I guess I needed to do that to get the success that I was going for, and thank God I
Exactly.
did because I ended up, position that
Exactly.
I went to school for.
Right. So, if I was to visit, apart from Jamaica Day, if I
Yeah,
was to visit, what would be that attraction or event or place that you say, Xavier, if you come to Montreal,
yes,
you must come see this, or you must come to this event, apart from Jamaica Day.
yeah, man. Well,
I
listen, the thing,
must see an attraction. Maybe
yeah,
it's
man,
maybe it's a place with a lake that the sun, the
right.
sunshine reflect something. What would that be for you? You'd say?
Well, I would tell you that the city of Montreal is probably, I think, one or the second oldest Quebec city in Canada. The war was for Canada was fought here, uh, at the east side, Quebec City, Maritimes, Montreal. So what you will see, well, the first thing you got to see is old Montreal, because you get to live this. They've replicated or maintained the integrity of the city even to this day, over 1,500 years later. So you get to see how the streets look like, or the buildings. Part of the building still dates back to those days, and you're right on the pier where the battles and the fights. You'll see the cannon. So you have to visit there. You got to go to the Mount Royal, where you get to see the city like nowhere else. The Olympic Stadium, where the first Olympics 1976 in Canada was there. And guess what? Dana Quarry win third, got the bronze medal. Remember, Dana, no people forget Dana Quarry, but the first medal Jamaica ever get. At Donna Quarry. I think so. Or maybe Arthur went maybe back in the day. But Donna Quarry won bronze at the Olympics. So you got to see it still remains there today, almost 50 years later. It's a massive place. And then finally, like every other city, Montreal being the churches, or St. Joseph Basilica with the 99 step. This place is incredible, where they have still embalmed the priests from yesteryear are embalmed within there, and people still walk those 99 steps to pray. So it's a fantastic. The city is the oldness of the city, where you see the ruins, the battlegrounds of the war, where Canada was founded, man. You understand what I'm saying? Which
Awesome.
Canada was not founded by the white man. The Indian them were here long
Mhm.
time.
All right. All right. Awesome.
The number one attraction, you got to come by the Jamaica Association, where we got everything going on there. We got a restaurant called Cool Runnings, big up Cool Running. They pick the general, the top pick, and we got a great bar. You gotta miss the we have great weekends.
So let me ask you this. I mean, what am I saying? Patty shops dead it. Jamaican restaurants dead it, right? I mean,
Everywhere you go.
multiple. You have multiple.
Believe me, when you come to Montreal, you can still feel like you're visiting a country, but you're getting exactly what you need back home. Everything is there. It's very, very a lot of the Jamaican culture is very, very dominant here. In fact, it was more dominant in the 80s until the boy them start misbehave themselves. You know the Jamaican them go already, go and them look for foolish this. Man start get deported. So the culture is still extremely strong. Anywhere you go, Jamaica, as you said, Jamaica and a flag of Jamaica, anywhere you go.
Yes,
It's popular. So you get everything from food provision, restaurant, the nightlife, the culture, very, very, very strong. And one more thing on that, I would when Jamaicans first started migrating to Canada, it was Montreal that came first, because back in the 60s and the 70s, Montreal was English, surrounded by the French. So you ask most people in Toronto, they'll tell you that they either used to live in Montreal or their parents used to live in Montreal. So it all started here from Montreal. So you got to come. You have to come back where it started. You understand what I'm saying?
Learn the history.
Yeah,
Learn the history.
Yeah, man. Montréal, c'est c'est le numéro un. Montréal, c'est la meilleure cité dans le Canada. Oubliez ça.
So, Mark, listen, I appreciate you spending some time telling us your story, telling us a little bit, more than enough, a lot about Montreal. Folks, this is, if you are traveling, if you are thinking of moving, Mark and the association there is a resource. Make sure you reach out to them. So, Mark, here is how I usually do it. I know you visit Jamaica on a regular.
Every year. Did it.
So you get off the plane. I figure you're landing in Kingston, but let's say whichever one. All right, whichever one. What is that first thing you're doing?
I'm finding the patty store. Let me tell you, we have people that make patties here, but it's just something about Jamaican patties. I don't know if it's a natural ingredient. The first thing we must go when we go to Jamaica is get a tasty or juicy beef patty and some jerk chicken. Once we get that, we good. And I'm saying the first thing, if somebody picking me up, if I'm getting a lift, I'll tell them, stop on the way, and we get a patty and a piece of jerk chicken. That's it. I'm going to go. No one better than you, Xavier. No one better than you. No one better than you. It's only too bad I can't retire there because of what's going on. But, I'm still making my regular contributions. And one more thing I want to say before I quickly go is that I still, from my alma mater, we visited as a community organization, Tivoli Gardens, Denham Town, a few years ago. We bought a lot of computers for the school there, Denham Town Primary. And I've been sponsoring one young man, his education, for a lot. And now he's now going to my alma mater, Camperdown. And awesome. I wanted to give back. And I said, as long as you're going to school, I'll take care of that education. So I do a little fundraising here and pay his tuition and his books. And that's my way to give up.
Pay forward, my friend. Pay forward.
Yeah, man.
So we're going to close out this way because I don't even have to ask. You gave so much good information.
Yeah.
It's awesome. How do you say in the, I guess, Quebecan way?
Yeah.
How do they informally say goodbye?
Salut. On peut faire salut. Salut means goodbye. Or the proper word is au revoir. A-U-R-E-V-O-I-R. So
No, no, I want the informal. I don't want, like how we Jamaicans say, little
Salut.
more ketchup on the
Salut.
lid or something.
No, on the proper, you want the rest. Salut. Salut.
Salute.
Salut. Salut.
All right. Mark, thanks again, my brethren, and salute.
Big up. Salut. Bless up, Xavier. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Show us some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.